back to your alma mater to celebrate with the next generation. And last year, the Roland George program co-hosted what I would say was the best homecoming tailgate Stetson has ever seen. And our plan was to top that this year. A lot like 2020, that wasn't in the cards. And I can assure you when we are able to come back, we will be better and bigger, and we look forward to welcoming you back when that happens. For the last 40 years, this program has been touching the lives of students, and that cannot be more evident than by the fact that you have chosen to share some of your Saturday with us. So thank you. Each student or alumni might have a different answer about what makes this program great, but for me, it's always been the people. The students while they're here and the alumni once they leave. This year marks the start of my 9th year at Stetson and my official year heading the program. Last year, I served as the interim director after the departure of Dr. Casey Ma. I came to Stetson in part because of this program, and I got my CFA in part because of this program. And when we aligned our curriculum with the CFA to become a university-affiliated program, it was for this program. So when the time came, when I was asked to lead this program, it was truly the honor of a lifetime and something I'd been working for nearly a decade. Then 2020 happened. It seems like a lifetime ago, but during the 2019-2020 academic year, the RGIP program conducted a national search to hire the new Roland George professor. This process gets a little bit complex during the midst of a global pandemic, to say the least. I'll formally introduce you to our new RGIP professor shortly, but I could not be more impressed with who we have hired. Before I tell you a little bit more about the current structure of the program and then turn it over to my colleagues, I want to take a minute to talk about adversity and resiliency I have seen in the students for the classes of 2020 and 2021. These students have gone through what will probably be the defining challenges of their lifetime with purpose and grace. If you are in a position to interview or hire one of these students, I urge you to consider it. They have been forged by fire. I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about the structure of RGIP because this is one of the major changes that we have gone through in the 2021 academic year. I think I lost my PowerPoint. Oh, here we go. This year, there was a split between the director and professor after the departure of Casey Ma, but the leadership team is comprised of myself, Dr. David Mascio, Dean Neal Mero, and the dear friend to the program, Steve Alexander, serves as the outside trustee. As you will see in a little bit, the RGIP program has grown tremendously over the past 40 years. We're now sitting at almost $5 million, and we have 3 portfolios comprising our overall portfolio. For that, and with the mission of the RGIP program, we wanted to include as many students in the student leadership structure as we possibly could. By the bylaws, there's 4 student trustees, and these are Rebecca Guerra, CJ Rogan, Antoine Sanchez, and Ethan serves as both a trustee and our CIO. Our 3 portfolios are our growth portfolio, fixed income portfolio, and our equity or value portfolio. And the portfolio managers are Andres Fernandez Vilches, Daniel Matus, Matthew Lawrence, and Jonathan Weiner. I'm now going to introduce Dr. David Mascio and give him a chance to give a brief market overview for the next 12 to 18 months. The newly hired professor, Dr. David Mascio, has 20 years of senior leadership roles in the investment industry and is the founder and principal of Della Parola Capital Management. He received his PhD from EDHEC Business School in France and was most recently teaching at Colorado State University. As I mentioned, you'll be hearing from our student CIO and trustee Ethan Hammett when he does a portfolio update. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. David Mascio.
Thank you, Dr. Hurst. For most of you, I probably haven't met any of you based on the circumstances that we've been dealing with over the last several months. But I will tell you, it has been a pleasure and an honor to be serving as the Roland and Sarah George Professor of Finance, working with Dr. Hurst and Dean Mero and the wonderful group of students that have come together during this really challenging time. They have done a sensational job with the challenges they've had to deal with. And you'll see when Ethan comes up just how well this portfolio has performed through lots of adversity that they've had to deal with. As Dr. Hurst already said, I joined here in the fall of 2020. We moved our family out here from Colorado. And I will tell you, even though we have challenging times, we have really enjoyed the move. The Stetson community, it's really been an honor, and everyone has been wonderful. So the move has really paid off. I think what I want to do now is talk about what's going on within the financial markets. And what I did is I outlined this in 4 different areas. One of the things we do with the students each day is we talk about what is going on currently within the market. How does it relate to the portfolios? How does monetary and fiscal policy affect the aggregate environment? And then what are we going to do from a top-down analysis as we go through the portfolio and reposition it? So let's first start with COVID-19. We hear about it every day. We talk about it every day. And frankly, I think everyone's getting tired of talking about it. What we have seen in the aggregate, and many of you that have invested, we saw a shock. Financial markets do not like shocks. They do not like unknowns. With the COVID environment right now, most of the unknowns are out there. We know how we are dealing with it. We've learned a lot over the last 6 months. And the financial markets, frankly, have almost moved on. Not that the COVID's not an important aspect of allocating capital right now. Financial markets do not like unknowns. In the COVID environment right now, we know what we're dealing with. We know how to allocate capital because of it. And as you've seen, the markets since the end of March have made one of the most unprecedented runs we've ever seen. Now, that doesn't mean that COVID will not challenge the economy going forward, as well as the allocation of capital. But the markets now understand that COVID is here. It's not going away anytime soon, and the allocation of capital has taken place. So let's move on to one of the unknowns, is the 2020 election. As we all have geared up for this election, the media hype around it, the way the financial markets have performed have been somewhat unpredictable. We saw the week before the election, the markets dropped nearly 15% to ensue this week, getting back most of the gains that were lost, the losses in the previous week. This election, frankly, I think is far from over, mainly because of the legal challenges that are probably going to come. This uncertainty will probably move the markets either in a sideways motion like we saw probably the last 5 weeks of the summer and into the fall. But the 2020 election has a lot of bearing on the direction of capital. Whether you're Republican or whether you're Democrat, split government financial markets like. Markets usually outperform when you have a split government, meaning you don't have a clean sweep either as a Republican or the Democrat Party. And right now it seems that we will have split government. But as we see the uncertainty go on in Georgia with the runoff election that won't occur until January, the financial markets are not going to like the uncertainty going forward around that runoff that's going to occur in Georgia. And we will probably see this next week. So the real allocation or reallocation of capital within the aggregate markets is probably not going to take place until after we see what happens with this runoff in the Senate in the state of Georgia. So that being said, we've got fiscal policy right now that is hanging in the balance because the government is split. The stimulus that we have been talking about for the past, well, probably 2-3 months, that in order to sustain this economic recovery, more fiscal stimulus is going to be necessary. We heard from Mitch McConnell yesterday stating that the health of the economy is on stable footing, which I believe the fiscal package is probably going to be smaller rather than larger. And we will see within the futures markets when they open on Sunday how they're going to react to a potentially smaller fiscal policy that both the Senate and the House have to agree upon. But don't expect any type of fiscal policy change probably until after the after we see what's going to happen in Georgia and going into the inauguration in January. As far as monetary policy is concerned, we heard from Fed Governor Powell basically saying that the central bank is going to make up for any sort of less stimulus coming out of Washington. So once again, we are going to see these markets being propped up through massive monetary policy through the central bank, whether it's buying up the excess capital from the treasury issues, keeping a floor underneath all types of different bonds. And we will see that momentum spilling over into the equity markets. So we basically are going to see no real change. Valuations are going to continue to increase, and we will see much accommodation going into the market, I think, well into 2021. So in summary, COVID, we are dealing with. The markets have put that on the back burner. We have seen the 2020 election uncertainty unfolding, with this really not coming to an end until we see what happens in Georgia with the Senate confirmation or who is going to win the election in Georgia, because we know that whatever direction that goes will determine who's going to control Congress. And then finally, no fiscal policy until we understand what's going on with the finality of the election, and monetary policy based on what Colin Powell said in his testimony just yesterday. They're going to keep the gas on. They're going to accommodate wherever they need to, and the financial markets are going to benefit from it, which means increased valuations. That once the monetary policy and fiscal policy run out, we are going to have to deal with valuation issues similar to back in the 2000s. So that's all I have for us today. I'm going to turn it over to Ethan. Ethan is basically the #1 guy with the students. They really respect what he does for them as their leader. And I will tell you, Dr. Hurst and I couldn't be more impressed with this young man in the future that he has ahead of him. So, Ethan, take it over.
Well, hello all. My name is Ethan Hammett. I am the current Chief Investment Officer and Student Trustee in RGIP. A little bit of a background on me. I'm an Honors Finance and Data Analytics student here at Stetson University. I'm a junior, and after graduation, I'll be pursuing my CFA and my Master's in Finance. On the extracurricular side, I'm a Vice President on the Interfraternal Council. I'm from Ponte Vedra, Florida, and one of my favorite hobbies is running. So here's a snapshot of our fund. Currently, we have about $4.75 million in assets under management as of November 4th, 2020. This AUM is split across 2 strategies. That's the income strategy and the growth strategy. The growth strategy has 1 portfolio. That's the growth equity portfolio. And the income strategy has 2 portfolios. That's the value equity portfolio and the credit portfolio. The value equity portfolio and the credit portfolio maintain a 1-to-1 weighting. So this is our target equity allocation across the two portfolios. We recently elected to increase our defensive positioning in allocation, increasing our allocation to sectors like real estate and utilities, and decreasing our allocation in sectors like consumer discretionary. For our target credit allocation, we elected to increase our investment grade weighting, decrease our non-investment grade weighting, and increase the cash on hand with some to be held in tips. We believe because of the current risk climate in the credit markets that it was prudent to increase our defensive positioning in both of our portfolios. So this is a snapshot of our fund performance over the past year. We started out about $3.8 million, and now we're at $4.75 million today. The fund has netted about $1 million, and we returned about 25% over that time period for the entire fund. For the individual portfolio performance, the growth equity has beat the Russell 3000 by about 34%, returning a total of 40%. The value equity portfolio has beaten the S&P 1500 Value Composite Index by about 6.1%, returning a total of 7%. And the fixed income portfolio has lagged the Barclays aggregate by about 2%, however, has still returned roughly 5% on the year. For our fall semester sell recommendations, our thesis for the sell recommendations were to cut companies that were sensitive to COVID-19, realize some of our outsized gains, and ensure our portfolio was very well positioned for the year to come. Our biggest gainers out of this group were Beyond Meat at 109%, Trade Desk at 129%, and Zendesk at 44%. Our fall semester trim recommendations, our thesis for the trim recommendations were to cut our overweighted positions and keep them in the portfolio just because of their strong growth opportunities. This mainly included consumer discretionary and tech, but our biggest gainers out of the group that we trimmed were Celsius at 357%, Square at 98%, and Match Group at 561%. Our fall semester buy recommendations, we are focusing on targeting emerging industries and companies that hold a competitive advantage in those industries. We have a total of 44 buy recs being pitched this year across the value equity and growth portfolios. These are just three of our buy recommendations that we're pitching. Neal is a very well-positioned electric vehicle company in one of the biggest EV markets in the world. Renewable Energy Group is a very well-positioned renewable energy company that focuses on biofuels. And Novavax is a company that is a vaccine company that is very well-positioned in the COVID-19 epidemic. These are just three examples that show our thought process in this semester's buy recommendations. For alumni outreach, we started a new LinkedIn page, and on this LinkedIn page, we'll be posting things like fund updates, so performance on the fund, some of the recommendations, and some of the developments for the fund. We'll also be posting student spotlights and ensuring program outreach to our alumni network and people who are interested in the program. For Alumni Series, this is a new initiative that RGIP will be starting. We'd like alumni to come back and visit the students, visit the program, and give back what they know and how they've done. For this Alumni Series, we'd like alumni to come back and discuss with students their career, their industry, give some lectures on their career and industry, how they broke in and what they do to stay successful. And with this, we'd like to broker mentoring opportunities and mentoring connections. RGIP is such a unique program, and we'd love to be able to keep this connection between the students, the program, the school, and the alumni. So that's it.
Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate the ongoing support and interest in this program from alumni. We hope and wish that next year we're back on campus and we can meet all of you and see all of you in person. Thank you for sharing your Saturday with us. We wish you all the best.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, very good. Well, welcome. We're excited about this. We've had our president, Roki, President Rogi is on, and he was just talking about the other events that have happened across campus, and it's been such a wonderful event. And while we miss you, we love that you're willing to connect to us in this way virtually. Your life, I suspect, is like our life. Everything we do is virtual. And that's a little bit difficult, but you know, this is going to be over someday soon, I'm confident, and we look forward to seeing you back on our campus. But just as a reminder, if you can see, I'm going to get out of the way and show you, I have a great view of my office. And I actually switched the computer just so I could share that view with you, but this is what I look like. And our past president, Wendy Libby, always would tell me, she said, Neal, you know, one day I'm going to take your office just because of that view. But it's so exciting to be able to see Elizabeth Hall and Sampson behind us, and the music school much closer to us, our neighbors to the north. So we appreciate that. I appreciate the view, and I do want to remind all of you of home, and I will say welcome home for those of you who are with the business school. So we're going to talk with you a little bit today, and some of my colleagues are going to join us and chat with you about our programs. I promise you it won't be a big long speech or presentation, even though I'm known to do that, and certainly pretty good at that, I think, because this is a business school I'm quite passionate about, and my colleagues. But what I really want to do is give you an idea of the programs and the activity that are occurring in the business school, some of which have been with us for a long time, and some we've launched in the last few years or have been re-energized in the last few years. And I just want you to be aware of what's happening at your business school. So I'm going to start my slides here. Let's see if I can share my screen. And if my granddaughter texts me during this and you see something flash up, she's not very good. She's only 4, so she's not very good about following protocols, but I apologize in advance. But let me share the screen. And hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to put that presentation up. And so welcome. As you know, this is right below me. This is the front of the Lynn Business Center. We thank Eugene and Christine Lynn for their generous gift many years ago to help us secure this building. And it's just such a great facility for us. And I know many of you certainly are alum from 1970. Lewis would not have been in this building, but this is just really a great business school. And when you're on campus, we'd invite you to come in and see all of the operations of the business school occur right now in this center. And we're quite excited about it. And Christine Lynn, you may be aware, is a member of our board of trustees, has been for several years, and we're so appreciative of their support. So we're in this building, and I have surrounding me a great team. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that team here in a few moments, but I'd like to introduce my 2 colleagues, Yorgos Bakamitsos, who's our associate dean, and I'm going to ask Yorgos, he's actually in the office next to me, and he's in the building today, to say hello. And our assistant dean, although somehow, Monica, I took your title off, but that's because Monica has so many titles, that's why. Monica is our assistant dean, and she leads both our financial aspects of the university, so helping with the finance and accounting. She's a professor of accounting, so we've got the right person there. And also, she's got the heart for students, and she leads our student, primarily the mentoring and stewardship of our students and working with our students through the process. So I just want you to see them and say hello, because they are why we have the school we have. Yorgos, would you like to say a few minutes, and I'm going to stop sharing and let you just say hello.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you, even virtually. See faces that I recognize from the years before, but also see people that our paths didn't cross during my time at Stetson. This is an exciting time to be part of Stetson University, and an exciting time to be part of the School of Business, and Neal will talk about all the amazing things that they're happening. If you happen to be in the building, or if you happen to be in the area and you want to stop by, you'll get a sense of the energy and the vibrancy of what is happening in the business school, even at the time of COVID, even at the time where a lot of our students are not in the building as much as we would like them to be. This has been a very kind of interesting year for us, and we're excited that our students are giving us feedback that they're getting the experience that we were promising them when they started kind of their journey at Stetson, even under these circumstances. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. It means a lot to see you here. And I'm looking forward to welcome you in the building in person when all kind of returns to some sort of new normal.
Okay. Monica?
Yes, I want to say welcome to everybody, and very sad that we can't be together for the tailgates, because I always do enjoy our tailgates. And I just have my little tailgate set up in the back there. But I wanted to welcome everybody, and really excited that you're going to get to hear quite a bit about, or a little bit about, all of our programs. And I have participated in some of our other homecoming events, and this is just really nice to, when we can't be physically together, that we can at least get together and still check in, see what's going on at school. And actually, we're having the opportunity to see some people that can't physically be here, and that now, because we are doing it virtually, we're getting to connect. So this is great. And hopefully we look forward to seeing everybody come back to campus in the spring, maybe, if we can, helping things get better. And if not, next year, we're going to be around. We're going to be, we're here for you, and hopefully everybody will stay connected with us. But welcome.
Thank you, Monica. And I do want to just add, for those of you, well, this is a faux tailgate, right? Because we're tailgating remotely separated, and that was exactly the right thing to do. We do actually tailgate, and those of you who, I'm going to invite you in advance. And Matt Hurst mentioned this in the RGIP function earlier this morning, but I'm going to invite you in advance to our 2021 tailgate. We're going to do it around the homecoming football game. It's an excellent event. Last year, believe it or not, we had 300 attendees at our tailgate. It was the most popular spot other than the stadium all day. We'll have our faculty there, our colleagues, our students, past and present, and a lot of alumni. So just as my colleagues have said, we're looking forward to seeing you on campus, and I want to make you aware of that. Coming to DeLand for homecoming is just a very special thing, not only for you, but for us. It's very special as we get to see you. So I'll go back to sharing my screen and talk a little bit about our programs. So let me just give you a little update. I call it Stetson Business by the Numbers, just to let you know the size and scope of the business school within the Stetson context. We have 48 full-time faculty and 11 staff that teach in and run both our undergraduate and our graduate programs, and our executive training and the professional and corporate education part of the School of Business. That do all of that. They're a phenomenal team. Some of them, I promise you, those of you who are alum from 30 years ago, some of the faculty were your faculty 30 years ago. You have Betty Thorne, I think, is our current most senior in time faculty member. Betty is still active and vibrant with us and teaching stats. So maybe some of you squint or when you hear Betty's name, because she's a pretty tough teacher, still is a tough teacher, but she has just been working with us for many years. So thinking of Betty today. Business majors, we have business majors, and something that's become more common in the last decade at least is double majors, even though I know some of you were double majors, but we really emphasize that because we have so many great programs, and we think the blend of skill sets and experiences that our students can get can make them better prepared for what lies ahead of them. So we do encourage double majors for those students who are academically prepared to be able to do that. And we see pretty common double majors: accounting and sales, for example, finance and entrepreneurship. And if you just think about those topics, how well they blend, and what a great set of skills and tools that our students have who double major when they leave Stetson. But we are certainly proud of those individuals. The fields of study have changed a little bit from the 70s, certainly, but we have 15 different academic majors and minors in accounting, business systems, analytics, finance, management and marketing. Those are the major areas that we have, but 15 areas of study where students can major. And then we have specialized programs, although they're within one of those larger fields, they in and of themselves are their own major. And that's in entrepreneurship, HR, international business, sales, which is one of our newest programs, sport business, family enterprise, and data analytics. So we're proud of that. And for a school with 48 faculty, that's a lot of programs. I will tell you that when I came to Stetson, one of the first things I said is, you have too many programs. And what we've done since I've been here for 5 years now is add 2 more programs. So you can see, I love the opportunity it provides to our students. And within those programs, there's so much innovation occurring, and you're going to hear about that in a moment. We are one of only 190 business schools in the world accredited by AACSB International. That is the premier accrediting body for business education. And we're accredited both in business and in accounting. And so, you know, there are tens of thousands of business schools worldwide. Because of some past jobs I've had, I've been in many of them all over the world. And to be in the top 190 is pretty special. So I highlight that because this is our reaccreditation year. So in the spring, we'll be going through that. So my colleagues are working very hard to prepare for that, but it is a number that we're quite proud of. So I'll talk, one of our most popular and certainly strongest programs over the years has been our tax program. And it maintains that strength right now and vibrancy. Many of you may be squinting as well when you think about your accounting course, but I'll remind you to think about people like JJ Master and David Bates, if you're that far back of an alumni of Stetson, but JJ Master, who is probably the most talked about person that I've ever heard of in my time as Dean of the School of Business. And I've heard 2 comments, and one is, I'm an accountant because of Joe Master, and one is, I'm not an accountant because of Joe Master. And what I love about that is they say it with equal passion about that individual. And you'll hear a little bit more about Joe, but you know, I know he was tough, but he and Professor Bates really established the Rinker Institute of Tax and Accountancy and our accounting program and its strength. And it really owes to their legacy and to my colleagues like Monica, who teaches in that, and Maria Rickling, who's our director of the Emmy Rinker Center right now, the Institute right now. And so they do some great things. And I like this little graphic that's on here from the new accountant. This goes to high school seniors who are interested in pursuing accounting degrees all throughout the state of Florida and a little bit beyond the state of Florida. And we were able to get the cover of the magazine, and you can see in front of Sampson Hall there in the now famous hammocks in Palm Court. Such a great picture and such a great promotion. And I appreciate Maria and her Rinker colleagues for doing that. And the success really is in our students' success. That's when we know we're successful. And Maria put in here for me some of the employers of our students, and you can see they're going to both some of the top accounting firms in the country, as well as some organizations that are in Florida where they're moving into managerial accounting functions that are really quite impressive. Siemens, some of our, excuse me, some of our top grads go in there. Deloitte, the FBI, we do have at least a few of our accounting grads in the FBI, NASCAR. So they're working with not only the top accounting firms, but the top businesses in the country. And we're very proud of our Rinker program. So just to pop up a few more words. So one of the things, accounting has become a very technology intense field, as Monica can tell you, because that's her primary area of work. And we really have infused those technologies so our teams, our students, when they go out into the field, are well prepared. We have a Master's of Accountancy, which is a very successful program. Just this year, they had one of the largest entry classes that we have had in the last decade, at least. So our program is large and viable, and we focus on tax because Mr. Rinker, who gave us the money for the Rinker Institute, was very big on taxes. Well, actually, I hear he was the opposite. He wasn't big on taxes. So taxes has always been an emphasis of the Institute, and they do an extremely good job. The Becker CPA exam, and that's of course the gold standard for the success of an accounting program. We now provide students as part of their MAC experience, the Becker Prep. And Maria was just putting together our report for our accreditor, AACSB, and looking at where Stetson, a relatively small university in the region and in the country, how high we perform on the CPA exam testing. And it's really exceptional, and sort of testaments to such a great program. And then they have lots of opportunities beyond the classroom, and specifically we run what is probably my favorite experiential program, VITA, which is the Voluntary Income Tax Assistance Program, where our students work with clients which are low-income families within the DeLand and Volusia County area with families to fill out their tax returns for them. Now they do that under the supervision of a CPA who comes in and volunteers with us. But for the students, it's real life experience, and real life experience is what Stetson is all about, and our accounting program is really great at that. We also have, and you're going to hear from Lou Paris, the director of the entrepreneurship program. And Lou, I'm going to flip this over to you, and you just tell me when you want me to advance the slides. Hopefully people can see you in your side screen.
Perfect. Thank you, Neal, and welcome everyone. Let's stay on this slide for just 1 second and talk about the program overall. It's a very new program. In fact, our first we started in the fall of 2017. So we have been around for a very short time, but we have done a lot in that same amount of time. We kicked it off with what we think is a phenomenal curriculum that is based on creative problem solving. And we guide students from that to learning how to manage innovation, learning how to scale a business. And we have two kinds of students, generally speaking: those who are gung-ho and they want to have their own business, the same way that we have those who see themselves working for an established organization, a big company, corporate America, but they want to be the innovators within that environment. And in building the curriculum, we thought it would be, the differentiator would be to give students a very special experience. And we did it with activities that happen outside the classroom. And Neal, if you can advance me to the next slide, please. And I want to highlight three things here. On the left, you see Entrepreneurship Thursdays. We have a speaker series, of course, on Thursdays, and we bring speakers who are either entrepreneurs or people who are innovators within established large organizations, and they come from all walks of life. These are speakers who are, maybe in the healthcare industry, or maybe in retail, or you name it. And I love that some of them are in the trenches right now, the same way that we have others that probably are the sunset of their careers. And this is our way of piercing the academic bubble around the university. And it's a moment when the community, the business community, can mingle and interact with the students. And we have had phenomenal results from this. Several students have received job offers from speakers who have been in the room, or from visitors who came to see the speaker. We have also had, just to illustrate one example, we had a student, Zach, who connected with a very prominent businessman in the area who focuses on marketing, and this student became his protege. And it took him under his wing and helped him understand all anything that had to do with marketing. And this student, I think a year later, started his own marketing outfit. So it's again, one of those things that make me feel really good about the program, because I see those outcomes and they're so tangible. And I talk to the students and they're so happy about it. The other thing that we have done, if you look at the middle, the Prince Leaders, we created a group of elite entrepreneurship students. We look for students across campus who want to act upon an idea. And it doesn't have to be a business idea only. In fact, one of our strong Prince leaders has a nonprofit organization. So we work with ideas basically, and we help these students develop their ideas into something and to make it real, you know, to really create an impact. This means that our students are currently developing inventions and ideas that you see on the right-hand side, some of the ideas that are being developed, anywhere from the intangible, like a website, to physical products, to, like I mentioned, the nonprofit organization. These are the same students who represent the university in pitch competitions locally, nationally, even internationally. And in this short time, in just about 3 years, we have really made a mark. The university has made a mark across the country. Now Stetson University is recognized when it goes into a pitch competition. Other universities know what we do. And I'll make a mention here that it's awesome to see how we have been doing phenomenally well face-to-face in competitions. And now that we have transitioned temporarily to virtual competitions, our students remain to be very strong. And we get comments on this the whole time. They always say Stetson students are so well prepared to not only explain their idea, but also to address any questions from judges, audience, and so forth. So I hope this gives you a good overview of the things that we have done in a very short time. And we're simply going to continue growing this program and bringing more success stories to, well, to the students and also to the university. And I'll jimmy in here, one little comment is that in the last 2 years, we have won, the students have won about a little more than $80,000 in cash prizes at competitions. So super excited. And these are some of the same ideas that are actually making it to market. We have, before the year ends, we will have 2 products of our students hitting the market. We have completed negotiations with manufacturers and their respective products. So very, very exciting. And Neal, I believe we have one more slide that shows a video that last night we had an event. We had a virtual pitch competition for the Prince leaders. And what you're going to see in a moment are the pitch for the first, second, and third place winners, and then the what do you call it? The announcement of the winners.
I think Alex is going to run just to, if those of you who saw the competition last night know how great it was, we cut it down to just the top 3. They're very short pitches, but we're so proud of these, all of the competitors last night, but we'd like to share that with you. So Alex, can you do that for us?
Absolutely. So everybody, I'm going to share my screen for just a few minutes and show this video. This will show you, like Lou and Neal mentioned, the top 3 pitches and the announcement of the winners from last night. And all 10 students were amazing, but I'll show you briefly that video. So you should be able to see that now, I hope. And I'll go ahead and hit play.
We have Kendall Buck. Kendall.
My dad, Gordon, was a chef for 14 years. Growing up, I spent a lot of time in the kitchen. I love to cook, but the only downside was trying to decide who was going to get stuck having to strip the leaves off the herbs. This was especially annoying when it came to cooking with cilantro. For those of you who use cilantro, you know it's a tedious task to have to individually separate each leaf from the stem. My name is Kendall Buck, and the first product that I have designed is Herby Rake. Herby Rake is an easy-to-use kitchen tool that makes cooking fun and efficient. And the market for this product is huge. There's more than 450 cooking TV shows and 113 million cooking enthusiasts in the United States alone. These statistics prove that there's a lot of people spending time, energy, and money on cooking or learning how to cook. I've also personally been on a mission to talk to as many people as possible and found that 81% of cooking enthusiasts want this product for their kitchen. This made me even more excited to move forward with going to market. At this point, I've already filed my provisional patent, commissioned my professional prototype, gathered early stages of feedback, filed my LLC, and even signed a manufacturing contract, so I'm ready to move forward. It's time to stop letting the tedious task of stripping leaves get in the way of seasoning meals with fresh herbs. Help me get Herby Rake in the hands of cooking enthusiasts. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. Up next, we have Bryson Pritchard, and on that we have Deja Robinson. Bryson.
Thank you. Recently in the news, there was a story of an officer who was involved in a shooting with a suspect in Volusia County. The officer saw through their baseball hat, but fortunately, the bullet only grazed the officer's skull and he survived. Situations like this are happening more frequently, and due to social and political forces, police departments cannot provide adequate military headgear for patrolling officers. My name is Bryson Pritchard, founder of Exo Defense, and I make fully concealable ballistic Kevlar baseball hats that protect officers' heads without the militarization look that generates negative sentiments in our society. We're targeting law enforcement agencies, and we already have 8 police departments testing our hats, and an additional 23 that are requesting meetings with me. With a first product run already completed, we sell these hats for $80 and have a cost of $40 per hat. Please help me protect those who already sacrificed so much protecting us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryson. Now we have Chelsea H presenting, and on deck we have Cam Gesserlager.
Hey, so one day I was at a homeless shelter and I met a little boy named Michael who's turning 11. He's opened up to me about how he's never had a birthday party in his entire life and how he's always wanted a bounce house with a couple of his friends, like his friends from school have always invited him. So I gave him just that. Seeing the smile on his face just brought tears to my eyes from something as simple as jumping on a bounce house with a couple of your friends. I'm Chelsea Hage and I'm the founder of Birthday Candles for Kids. Birthday Candles for Kids is a 501c3 nonprofit that organizes fully personalized birthday parties. These children don't choose to be in the situation that they're in, and I believe that everyone deserves a special day, no matter what you're going through. So far, I have been able to give this experience to 75 kids, but there are still 443,000 children in the foster care system that I have to help. Help me put wishes back into birthdays. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. With that said, I'm going to work my way from third place to second place, to first place. So in third place, drum roll, we have, I hope you can see this, Kendall Buck.
Thank you.
You did awesome, Kendall. Is it showing the right way? Like, is it, can you read it like forward or is it showing backwards? Okay, good. So that was third place for Kendall. Now, second place for $250, we have Mr. Bryson Pritchard with a new idea. Because it takes you all this time to diet syringe. So congratulations, Bryson.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Now, let me say this, the votes were really close. In fact, I had to refresh the page several times because we had a tie there for a moment. And so luckily at the end, it was, I don't know what happened, but that we were able to break it. And first place, Chelsea Hage.
Woo! Yeah.
$500, yeah, congratulations. So with that said, that's our show for tonight. I encourage everyone listening to be part of us, okay? We would like to hear from you.
It was so exciting to watch it a second time. Those kids were so good.
They're awesome. I love all of them, and I couldn't possibly pick one from the group. I'm very I get attached to every single idea they work on over time. I get attached to them too, so it's impossible to see that unfold and make a decision.
All right, very good, Lou. Well, we appreciate your work. I will say I hadn't heard of Bryson's new idea, but Lou just mentioned that Bryson has been working on a syringe that will literally save hospitals hundreds of thousands of dollars over time and save lives. And now that he's on a new project, I got to start hitting him up for some fundraising for the School of Business. So, and those who know Bryson, he is just a wonderful person. And I love the social themes coming into the entrepreneurial aspects of the business, including of their businesses, including the woman who just won the competition. That's just so awesome. Lou, thank you for all of your leadership on this. It's just incredible.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about our newest program, which is the Centurion Sales Program. And this was based on a gift of Mr. Leo Fernandez, who was actually in the building this morning. Leo is strongly connected. He's an alum from 1973 of the program, was a very successful entrepreneur in his own right. And he is here, and he says the key ingredient to his success is sales. And so he helped us found the sales program, and that program is really becoming a very active program within the school. it really is helping individuals learn how to sell. And this is, if you get to the business school, if you get to Stetson's campus and come into the business school, right on the right is, at the entryway are our sales labs. And you can see these labs. They're available for sponsorship. So we have most often Stetson alum, but not in all cases, sponsor one of these cubicles for a year or 2 year period of time so that they can make individuals aware of their presence and so that they can recruit our sales students, which is quite exciting to us. And this is Gavin DeFilippo, who's in this picture. Those of you may remember Gavin. He was a starting quarterback for the football team 2 years ago. He left. He's working now in the pharmaceutical sales industry, doing extremely well. And we're just very excited about what is happening in there. So sales is about talking to CEOs, talking to executives, talking to senior managers and organizations, learning how to present in board meetings. That's in the background there is John Riggs, who's the director of our sales program, who runs just a phenomenal program. This has rapidly become a significantly large major. And what I'm most excited about, I'll be honest with you, is it's one of our largest minors at this point. Because as I talked about double majors or individuals having a major and a minor at the beginning of the presentation, this is a great minor for those individuals to have, because there's not a person on this call, I guarantee you, who would not agree that the most significant part of their job is selling their ideas, their thoughts to others, even if they don't call themselves a salesperson. Our students get to compete, which is a great experiential learning opportunity for them, in 2 major collegiate competitions, the ICSC, which is headed by Florida State University. Florida State has one of the largest sales programs in the country, and that's this coming week. So keep our competitors from Stetson in mind. That's a competition we will win. We may not win this year, but we will win because of just the quality of programs that is. And then the National Collegiate Sales Competition is in the spring. It's at Kennesaw State University. And it really is the premier sales competition in the country. And we did our first competition 3 years ago, and our team has been moving up each year. So you can major or minor in sales. This is a great video. I will say this was not taken yesterday. You probably figured that out when you see this picture, because we would not have our students together like that, and they'd all be wearing masks and they'd be sitting 6 feet apart. But we're looking forward to getting back to the days when they can be in close proximity like that. Just a great group of individuals. And there I thank Dr. John Riggs, who is the executive director of our program. And this year we brought in Dr. Dina Hale. Dina has been at a couple of universities with sales programs she was starting to launch, but we were able to recruit her from those schools and bring her in the summer. She's helping prepare our sales competition teams, as a fabulous professor, and welcome, Dina. And I really am also appreciative of the work of these two colleagues. Some of you were able to hear some of the great news from the Roland George Investment Program, and I'm going to turn this over now to my colleague, Dr. Matt Hurst. I will just say, Matt, I happened to look today at the portfolio because I had anticipated that, but as of yesterday, the Roland George portfolio set a new high. It's worth over $4.8 million. You can see Matt has it on the screen there. This program has always been a significant experience at Stetson University. It continues to do so. And Matt, would you tell us a little bit about what's happening in RGIP?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully everybody can hear me. So a little bit of history about the RGIP program, which I think almost everybody knows at this point. We are one of the oldest student managed investment funds in the country. And we're coming up on our 40th anniversary, which we'll be celebrating in the next year. By assets under management, we are now at 4.8 million. We're in the top 20 schools or student managed funds by asset under management. So that's pretty exciting. And given our 40-year history, nearly 1,000 people have come through the RGIP program. And that's what really makes this program great, is that when the students go out and they look for jobs, they're contacting alumni from the program that knows exactly what it was to go through the program, the rigorous experience, the pressure that it puts on you for doing the buy recommendations. And just now I'm actually in the RGIP lab, and students are coming in on a Saturday and they're preparing for these buy recommendations for next week. And so now this is such a great program. You can actually feel the energy just in this room. In the last couple of years, we have aligned our curriculum with the CFA to become a CFA university affiliated program, which again gives us additional exposure. And students that go through the program have the bulk of the content needed for sitting for level 1 of the CFA. That being said, we have exceeded the national pass rate for students that have taken the CFA over the past couple of years. And with our new addition of Dr. David Mascio, the RGIP professor, who also holds his CFA, and one of our new hires, Matthew Imes, who has a CFA, we sponsor with scholarships up to about 12 students per cycle taking the CFA. And this greatly reduces the cost and puts these students on pars with anybody that passes the CFA nationally and internationally. It's one of the most prestigious designations that you can have within the finance industry. 2020 has been pretty challenging for us, both when COVID hit and we had to shut down temporarily and move to an online experience for a program that is so much geared around a hands-on experience to move quickly to the virtual environment while still trying to position and protect the fund. You can see in early March or mid-March, when the COVID crisis was kind of unfolding, the fund did experience a tremendous decline. We tried to highlight that this was a learning experience, an opportunity for the students, and use this so that they could make investment decisions in a pretty quick environment. As you can see, we've rebounded tremendously from the low of about 3.37 million to our highest ever of 4.8. And I just want to highlight that this is after fees. This program pays for itself. And so the exciting thing about seeing our program at an all-time high is that this allows us to do more of the outreach opportunities that we want, to pay for the Bloomberg terminals that we now have 12 of, and maybe we'll expand that in the future. And with some of these new and ongoing opportunities, we're trying to reach more of the students, not just in the RGIP program, but across campus. Put on hold last spring was a Stetson-wide stock pitch competition that we hope to bring back as soon as we can. We're looking to remodel or find new space for the RGIP lab, because even though we have 12 Bloomberg terminals, we've got 30 students or more interested in participating in this every semester. We had a recent meeting with a local charitable organization geared towards financial literacy in elementary and high schools called 8 Cents in a Jar. And we're really excited about working with them for educational opportunities in the local markets. And then we're trying to find a way where we can expand the program offerings. It's always been our goal that we can not only reach the RGIP students, the 30 or so that come through the program, but more students at Stetson. And one of the ways that we're either going to be thinking about doing this is adding additional courses, like an advanced portfolio management course, or starting students earlier in the program. And that's just because we know that this is such an impactful program. Some highlights that have happened. Most of all of the competitions and events that the RGIP students participate in were put on hold in the spring semester as well as the current fall semester. We've had to cancel some of the really exciting opportunities that the students get to do, like go to New York or the CFA competitions. These have since been rescheduled and moved into virtual environments. We had so much interest in the CFA Research Challenge this year that we actually fielded 2 teams of 5. We're one of the only universities in the state of Florida to actually field 2 teams. I think both of our teams show tremendous promise. I'm looking forward to winning that and going to the national competition and potentially even the international competition. They're analyzing a Florida company, Chewy, which is the online pet supply and food distributor. And this year, what we are doing with the trustees and portfolio managers is we are automatically accepting them as part of the CFA scholarship. So we're going to be having at least, well, probably up to 12 students taking the CFA this year, and I look forward to them outperforming the national statistics as well. That being said, we continue to monitor markets with the ongoing developments that have just been announced today and will unfold over the next couple of months. And we will share any of those findings with you when we have them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And I just want to first appreciate Matt. Matt came in to take over the program from Casey Ma, who had run the program for 17, 18 years here at Stetson and really built the program to where it was a year ago. And Matt and David Masio, our new George professor, have done a tremendous job, and I really appreciate their efforts. Also on that previous slide, and I'm not going to try to go back, but there was a commentary there about 8 cents in a jar. And I mentioned to you early, and you saw it in the pitch competition, that our students care about social causes. And a social cause that we're starting to partner with, we hope to partner with, and we'll be seeing results from that in the spring, is 8 cents in a jar, which is teaching people in financially disadvantaged situations and students in financially disadvantaged situations how to save and invest their money. It's such a wonderful program. We were briefed on it the other day. Our students will eat this up because they are becoming experts in the financial investments fields, and their ability to help people in middle school and high school and develop the right financial habits to allow them to be successful and make their family successful in their lifetime is such a great opportunity. And so I appreciate those causes. I told you we'd come back to the JJ Master Center, to Joe Master, and we will. We've named our Center for Professionalism after Joe Master because Joe was a stickler for students in their professional preparation, in his case, our accounting students, in their professional preparation to go into industry, because Joe knew that when somebody leaves Stetson and is looking for a position, he wants them in their interview with the position that they want to pursue for people to just be shaking their heads in a positive way when that student leaves that individual's office. He had them very well prepared, that they say, wow, Stetson is an awesome university, which it is and always has been, but that this is the person I want in my organization. So, I've talked to so many accounting alum who are so grateful to Joe for launching them on what has been for all of them very successful careers. And so we named the JJ Master Center, and I promise not to do too much of a fundraising pitch, but if you're interested and you were impacted by Joe Master, the JJ Master Center is a great place for you to invest if you want to impact lives of Stetson students, because this touches all Stetson business students, and actually students outside of business as well. Mostly it's Stetson business students, but sometimes students from other parts of the university participate in our program. So we have something called the experiential learning requirement. We're in full gear with this. Starting May, all of our graduates from the business school will have to have had 2 substantive experiences that are significant learning experiences. For example, Roland George, participating in the Roland George program is a significant experience. Matt talked to you about some of the students coming into the lab right now. They're pushed hard in that program. Same with the Prince Entrepreneurship Program, or same with the Centurion Sales Program. So those kinds of experiences. We also have internships, where our goal is really for every student who graduates from Stetson's Business School to have an internship. And so if any of you have a business and are interested in using our interns, please reach out to one of us and let us know, and we'll connect you to the right people. Or international travel experiences. And I know many of you on here are alum of our Innsbruck program. It's so painful for us last year to have to cancel the program for the first time in 2 decades, basically, our summer program in Innsbruck. And we're recruiting students to participate this year, but that's also another type of experiential learning project that our students can work on. So they don't just get it in the classroom, they get it from these substantive experiences. And you can see a picture of Crystal Glover, and I should have had Crystal Glover on today with us just to talk about, because she really is the coordinator for the center and manages all of our activities there. And we're so grateful to Crystal. What I love about my colleagues and the work of Crystal is that we've been able to keep those experiences going even during a pandemic. Now, they're all done a little bit differently. Matt Hurst talked to you about how Roland George has done a little bit differently, but they've been able to keep it going. That is not an easy task, right? It's just not, and I am so grateful to my teammates for what they've been able to do. So our students are getting great experiences, and we're saying, COVID be damned, we're moving full speed ahead. We're doing it safely and smartly and following all the guidelines, but we're still creating great experiences. And I'm very proud of that process. So we have a new course that we're offering, Experience for our students, called Professionalism 101. We really do, and this is so important to me, is that when our students meet somebody who might have a potential position for them, or when they go into a job interview, I want that person to say, wow, when they walk out the door. So we have to prepare them professionally. You may know students don't come out of high school with those kinds of professional skills, but if they participate in our programs, especially these programs, we develop those skills within them, and that's why our success rate of placing students, so they get that return on their Stetson education that we're hoping for. That's why we've been so successful. And my colleague John Tishner, who didn't put his name on the slides, but he leads the J.J. Master Center. He's also a professor of management, and I'm very grateful for all that they have done and things that they're doing, because they are doing that professional prep for those students. And right now he talks about the new course that we're offering. It's a non-credit course, but it's called Professionalism 101. And we're bringing in some great speakers. Lou Paris talked about the great speakers that he brings into our Entrepreneurship Thursday events. Our students, even from their home now, because of the ways we have to reach our students in a COVID context, they are being introduced to some world-class speakers and on professionalism, on investments, on sales, on all of those topics. So those activities are going on. I want to talk about our business ethics case competition. We actually have something called the Templeton case competition. That's from alum Troy and Sissy Templeton. Gave us a gift that allows us to host our own ethics competition that we do each year in the spring. It will be done virtually this year, but we will be doing this. Ethics is just a core skill set that we want to imbue on every business student. So they're required to take an ethics course, but it wasn't just the ethics course and introducing them to that. We want to really enrich their learning in the field of ethics so that when they leave Stetson, they are ethical leaders that we as a university are proud of throughout their entire career. And so they compete in these ethics case competitions. I want to tell you, I think it's the toughest competition our students compete in, and they compete with some of the best universities in the world. And I love to see Stetson listed up there with the University of Arizona or Harvard or Stanford or Georgetown or other universities, as we are always, because our students always compete very favorably with competitors from those other schools. So our students get to go to a competition, and this year, just actually last week, we won the national championship, which was the Eller College ethics case competition for the Eller College of Business, which is at the University of Arizona. But two of our students, and they actually like each other. I look at this picture at the bottom of the screen, they're standing apart, but that's because they're not wearing masks. So they had to be 6 feet apart. But Zach Bloom and Abby Yagos won first place at that competition. And it really is the national championship of ethics competitions. And those are Stetson alum. They beat out a team from the U.S. Naval Academy. There were actually 40 teams at the competition, but the second place winner in the finals was the Naval Academy, and they were awesome. But Abby and Zach, oh my gosh, were they good. So great stuff going on there. And international programs, we're talking about a trip to Guadalajara, which is on here, and Rebecca Head, who's one of our current students, and you can see her picture in there. And I love this quote because Rebecca says, the Guadalajara virtual case competition gave me important insights into how to navigate a cross-cultural business environment. So let me remind you, she did this from DeLand, Florida. But by crossing the language, time, and cultural barriers, I learned a lot about international business and cooperation. So she was in the ethics case competition there. She was with individual students, fellow students from all over the world. It was just an exciting program, and my hat's off to Rebecca. You know, we're talking about impact on these students, and I hope you appreciate that. So I'm going to end, and you're probably grateful for that. I appreciate my colleagues joining me. I'll remind those of you who are here that the first 200 individuals who signed up for this event, and I think, Monica, how many did we have?
164.
Okay, 164.
I think that's what, Alex, that's what you said that signed up for our event, 160.
Yep, that's correct.
But you can see a picture of this, but this will be coming in the mail to you. I won't guarantee when it will come because they're delivering ballots right now, I think. But this will be, just teasing, this will be coming in the mail to you, those of you who registered. It's an insulated bag, and we expect to see you and the bag at our tailgate in the fall of 2021. So I hope you enjoy this gift. It'll be in the mail, and we'll have it out in the next couple of weeks. But those of you who registered and those of you who were able to join us today, thank you very much. And are there any questions in the chat that we can answer here at the end?
I didn't see any questions come in yet. We got some great kudos from some though, just mentioning that they really appreciate all the great work that you all are doing in the business school. But if anybody does have any questions or comments before we close, you can feel free to drop it in the chat or turn your microphone and camera on and join us on screen if you'd like. But thank you, Neal, for a great presentation today.
And for those of you that joined late, is Lou still here?
I think Lou dropped out, but we also, to anybody who did join later on, we did record this. So we'll have a recording of this whole event up on the Alumni YouTube page next week after homecoming wraps up. So you'll be able to watch it again there.
Yeah, just to let you guys know that any questions
and feel free to reach out to us by email. I get a lot of email from alum, as do my colleagues, but the 3 names at the beginning. So just look up the dean's leadership team and at the School of Business, and you'll find, but Monica Yorgos or I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. And Susan, if you want to wave to the crowd. So Susan Haugen is my partner in crime in the development effort, and she is well aware of every program we have in the School of Business and able to chat with you about that. And if you're interested in engaging with us in some ways, we definitely need you. We would appreciate you doing that, internships or any kind of other opportunities. If you have a philanthropic heart and your heart goes to any of the programs that we talked about, we can definitely find a place to help you help our students and our colleagues build even greater programs.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody that joined.
All right. We will end, and thank you all, and we appreciate it. And thanks to everybody that participated in this. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate your help with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was pleased to